So the Gunbreaker video is out. If you haven't seen it, you can go ahead and check it. But as of recently, I had some people, if not maybe one or two people on the video, telling me certain things about the Gunbreaker, which I still wholeheartedly believe is so. Like the mitigation, how the mitigation itself is not as good as the other tanks. But I'm very willing to hear everybody's opinion on that, and you can leave that in the comments below. Tell me why the Gunbreaker has amazing mitigation when you compare it to all the other tanks. I'm very willing to know. There is a person who did come from the video and come to my Discord. I'm not going to say their names, but they are an amazing person for coming in to talk about that and even explaining that in my video. And you know what? I like bringing up conversations like that. It's a great thing in the community, and I like to debate and discuss things like that. But the other thing I want to talk about is kind of the consensus of people telling you how to play a game. A lot of people would like to go ahead and say that if you find the best rotation in an MMO or a game like this, you are playing the job and or class right. You're playing the game correctly if you're following whoever made this best guide in the game and series. And to be honest, I don't really follow too much of that. Now, I might be wrong about this because there are a lot of players who go with guides, do in-game dungeons, and take those guides to heart, and they finish EX trials, Savage trials, Ultimate trials, and all that other stuff, and they're very successful on YouTube and or Twitch, and they show off their grit because they follow these guides. But there are those who also are successful and do the same thing without following guides, and they're just plain amazing at it. And I kind of respect those kind of people who are able to weave their own kind of rotation, to make up their own strategy, to be a person that they want to be in the game. And I get all the time that in an MMO, your character is very static. There is no really changing them. There's no making them unique. And I guess you could say that's kind of true, since if you're going to play Gunbreaker, Dancer, or any other class, Black Mage, Red Mage, Monk, Samurai, Dragoon, Paladin, Warrior, Dark Knight, it doesn't matter. You're going to have that same Paladin, Dark Knight, Samurai, whatever. It doesn't matter what class it is. They all have the same skill. They all have the same speed. They all have the same damage. It really does not matter in that terms. But here's where I think that there can be a sort of turn here. You see, I always think that if you're going to play as a character or a class, that you might have your own playstyle. You might actually use the character or your job or role or whatever in a different way than other people. I have been doing that with my Dark Knight for years. Years upon years upon years, I have not used my Dark Knight in the way other people want me to use my Dark Knight. In fact, I've done it so differently that even though my rotation is different from everybody else since like the time it came out, since Heavensward, people have been telling me that, oh crap, you're a pretty good Dark Knight. Have you ever thought about, being in this static or being in this team? Are you available at those times? And blah blah blah. Currently, not in a static. One of those problems is because I move from one server to another all the time with my own main, and that sucks because usually they're from like one data center to another, and that can like destroy relationships like that. And the other is that I don't have like the committed time. Usually I would like to find a static or create my own static, but that hasn't been successful as of yet. But the point is, there is a way that you can play a character or a class, in my opinion, and I don't think that there is a way that you have to play in order to play a class or a role or a job in order for it to be a success. Sure, if you're going to play a Dragoon, you're going to have to go through this rotation that everybody goes through, but maybe you mix it up. Maybe there's a way that you use that rotation. Maybe you do something first. Sometimes a rotation in a job is pretty straightforward that you can't even miss it. Like, you can't change it because they're giving you the rotation, and I think that's more or less like the Red Mage or the Dragoon, where it's pretty straightforward, or even the Black Mage. And so some people would say, oh no, the Black Mage, you can change things up, which is true. I think you can change things up with the Black Mage. It's the same thing I think with the tanks, all of them. I think there's a certain way that you can play with the tanks, and you don't have to go straight forward. Like, I know people will say that, no, everything in terms of a job has a straightforward rotation that you have to follow. And to be honest, I can't follow that, because I think there are ways that you can play each and every job and or class to suit your needs, to make them comfortable in your hands. Because sometimes you can't follow a certain rotation to the T. Maybe your hand-eye coordination is pretty bad. Maybe you're playing on a controller and keyboard and it hinders you from doing stuff. Or maybe you can do whatever the rotation tells you to do without a miss or a bump. But I don't think that helps when creating maybe a better rotation, when you find out something new. Because in the long run, there are people who are up in the upper echelon, right? They're the ones who are creating these rotations. They're the ones who have beaten the EX trials first. They're the ones who are always successful. They have a team behind making these giant guides, like the Balance, which I highly respect. They're the ones who are helping people out, getting through all these hard trials and game modes, and helping people learn their job. Here's the thing, my guides, they're not there for you to go immediately into an EX trial, into a Savage or Ultimate. They're there to give you a stepping stone so that you get a feel for the job. I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, now that you know this job, go ahead and hit the hardest trial you can get. No, I'm never going to say that. My rotations in any of my guides are so simple that anybody can take them and manipulate it, evolve it, change it to whatever they want, and they can move on with their day, finding out like, oh man, so this is your rotation, but it's not the best rotation. Let me see if I can make that better. And that's what I like when somebody takes a simple rotation and evolve it and make it better. There are people out there who will just follow a guide to the T. They will follow a rotation to the T. I've seen probably I've actually at this point have seen like 5 videos of the Gunbreakers main tank and off tank rotation, and they were all the same thing. The same balance rotation that I've seen over and over again. Nobody changes it, nobody tries to mix it up, nobody even thinks that, oh man, maybe if I did this, I could make it a little better or make it more comfortable for me. One of the things that I've seen in this Gunbreaker rotation that you have to beat Brutal Shell to its timer before it just ticks right off, and you can move on to your next skill, and that is kind of hard for certain people. And I've actually tested this. There was a person in my group of friends who couldn't even make that Brutal Shell rotation. They had to change their Gunbreaker rotation because they couldn't keep up with that, and that's because their hand-eye coordination wasn't as good. They're a pretty amazing tank, by the way. They're amazing people. They can do EX trials, they can do ultimates, they've done it. They just have to do it in their own way. And when I see things like, you have to follow this rotation, here's a guide, this is the best rotation, this is what you have to do when you're playing this certain job, it kind of discourages uniqueness or experimentation, I should say, because people will say that, oh, you're not unique, there's no way you can be unique in an MMO because everything is static. And I don't believe that. I think there is a way for you to play your class and job the way that you want to. I think there is a certain amount of freedom that you can use your class or job. It may not be the most efficient, it may not be the best way, but it's the way you play. And I like to encourage that in anybody who likes to play this game, who likes to play an MMO, if I'm going to play fighting games, and I play maybe a metric ton of fighting games. I like to play Street Fighter, I like to play Super Smash Brothers, I like to play Tekken, I like to play Under Night and Birth. I'm not a weeb, I swear to God. I like to play a whole bunch of fighting games, and you're playing as a character that has static moves that every single person who plays the same character, like say Ryu, if I'm playing Ryu, the other person's playing Ryu, they're going to have the same moves as I am, but I'm going to have a different playstyle as that Ryu. More likely than not, that Ryu is not going to fight the same way as I play Ryu. And that's what I like about fighting games. I can play Super Smash Brothers, and I'm playing as Bowser, and somebody also plays as Bowser, but they're playing Bowser in a different way, I think in an MMO, there is a way that you can actually play your class, role, or job, just your job, in a way that you want to play your job. And, well, maybe you guys disagree. And if you do, just let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I do like discussions. I do like to have conversations in the comments about what you guys think about all this. Do you think there is a unique way of playing or how to play a class or job? Do you think it's just static? Maybe there's only one way to actually play a job. Maybe there's only one way to play the game. And if that's what you think, please let me know in the comments below. What do you think about that? Is there only one way to play a job, or are there multiple ways? Maybe you can find your own unique rotation that is comfortable to you, and if so, let me know, But that's all I really wanted to talk about. That's all I really have to say. Other than that, I'll see you guys next time in a maybe real video. If not, I'll pull out some of these discussion videos, since there are things I do want to talk about in the community. But next time, I am working on a lore video, which a lot of people have probably already known and probably hinted that it's going to be on a certain subject of a certain race of people, of a certain ancient civilization, with a certain city in the background. But yeah, I'll see you guys then. If not in probably another one of these short discussion videos, which is not really too short because I'm already past 10 minutes. Alright, bye.